Hi, I'm Chad Stanfield. Welcome to the presentation of SharePoint hosted on Hyper-V, and we're going to go through the failback process. In a previous video, we failed over SharePoint running in a Hyper-V environment. We're currently in a failed over state, and we just added an item into our SharePoint environment. So now what we want to do is establish replication in the reverse direction, meaning we want to replicate the content from our DR location back to the production site. In order to do this, we enter the InMage interface, simply select the server that needs that protection started. We'll manage the protection plan of that server, and we will simply activate the replication process. It then asks us, it recognizes that we need to do reverse replication to fail back into our production environment. We accept that change. It then provides details of what's going to happen, including a readiness check to ensure that we are ready to fail back into the production environment. I simply select here, and you'll see that we immediately start into that readiness check process, and we'll give this just a minute to go ahead and run those checks and validate that we are able to fail back into that production server. You can see that we've now had the readiness checks both on the secondary site and the primary site come back successful, and we've actually automatically created the replication pair. So to view the status of this replication pair, we'll simply go back to the Monitor tab, and we'll go ahead and select our SharePoint application for 2012 again. And you'll notice that here under the disk volume replication, the pair has been automatically established for you and created. We're starting to track the recovery, our RPO recovery point objective, and we are still going through the resyncing process. At this point, we're actually going to collect the information at the block level from the target site, and we're going to send that back to the production site. If there is data already available at the production site and you didn't lose the storage, we're only going to send the differentials back to that production site. You do not need to do a full resync, assuming data is still available there. This will take a few minutes to go through into differential sync state. We can now start the failback process. To do that, we simply go down to Manage Recovery Scenarios, and we'll simply select the failback process by selecting the Run option here. Again, we are going to run a readiness check, which will validate that everything is ready to be failed back onto that original production server. We'll start this process, and then we can simply monitor the failback process here as it goes through the readiness checks and then the actual steps to fail back into the production site. As you can see, we've now finished the readiness checks for both the primary and the secondary server, as well as the tasks that are needed for the failback operation to be successful. At this point, we simply connect into our hypervisor machine on the source side. You'll see that our SharePoint 2012 server is there. It is turned off, so we're simply going to power that machine on. And then we will go ahead and connect to that machine as well, just at the console level for now, so we can see that boot up. We'll go ahead and log in. And we'll go ahead and start Internet Explorer so we can connect into our SharePoint environment. You'll notice that we do trigger the event tracker so that you can log the event of the failback procedure. Now we'll authenticate into SharePoint. And here we can see that once we're in SharePoint, we can go ahead and open our discussion. And you'll notice that it did maintain our last entry there. We can also go ahead and reply and ensure that we do have read-write capabilities. and you'll notice that we do have the capability to write activities back into the SharePoint environment. At this point, we want to reestablish replication in the appropriate direction so that we can protect this information we're now adding on our production server. Simply go back to the InMage user interface. We'll select the Monitor tab. We'll select the SharePoint server that's being protected. We'll go into Managed Protection Plans, and we'll simply go ahead and activate the replication once again. It is now identifying us as original direction or forward replication. We simply confirm that. Again, it'll run a readiness check to ensure that the target machine is ready to receive the replication and failover activity, and we'll simply save that action, and it'll automatically set up the replication pair for us and start the replication as well as the consistency points. And that's what is involved in failing back a SharePoint services within Microsoft Hyper-V. You can now see that we have successfully made it through the primary and secondary server readiness check, and we've also successfully created the replication pairs automatically. To monitor the progress of the replication pairs, we simply go back to the Monitor tab, select our SharePoint 2012 server, and you'll see that we have a status of where we are. It'll resync the data, and then it'll bring it up into differential sync shortly, and then at that point all of the consistency mechanisms and readiness checks will be running and you will be under full protection. And that is how you fail back a Microsoft SharePoint environment using Microsoft Hypervisor server.